Hello, welcome to IDT Talks. Today we have a special guest from Georgia, Victor Kipiani, chair of a Georgian think tank organization, Geocase. Hello and welcome to our program.
My pleasure, Anastasia. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining IDT Talks today. So 8 October, President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, had a one-day working visit to Georgia at the invitation of a Prime Minister, Irakli Garibashvili, where the significance of bilateral relations were highlighted by two sides. What is the essence of the increased mutual visits?
Yes, to start with, we have to point out to the increased frequencies and intensivity of bilateral contacts, and that this is a really good sign. Over the last period of time, we witnessed periodic trips by the Georgian Prime Minister, and this is the consecutive trip by the President Ilham Aliyev to Tbilisi, which definitely sends a very positive signal to our nations and to the region as well. Although it was a one-day trip, however, it turned out to be quite productive if we could judge by the media outlets and by media coverage. Basically, there were two pillars of the discussions. One was the economy and another was the security. Probably we'll touch on the economy since you started with the security issue. On the security in this very dynamic and very volatile context of regional developments and non-regional developments, definitely the leaders have to consult with each other on a regular basis, have to consult their positions, and have to feel each other. So, use and practicable use of the presidential visit which we had.
One of the key issues discussed at the bilateral meetings was the possibilities and probability of Georgia to become a platform for the future negotiations between Armenia and Azerbaijan. What are the advantages of Georgia to be such a platform for the future meetings and negotiations between Baku and Yerevan about the peace process development in the region of the South Caucasus?
As with the Second Karabakh War, Tbilisi has again expressed its willingness to mediate or to facilitate in any possible way. Well, remember then when the so-called Second Karabakh War has started in 2020, the National Security Council of Georgia has made a clear statement whereby it has extended its gesture, its willingness to the conflicting parties, suggesting Tbilisi as the venue for mediation. The same with the point has been made by the Prime Minister Garibashvili, and of course, although we cannot judge in all the possible nitty-gritties, but what is important that offer has been accepted by the President Aliyev with a due consideration, which hopefully leaves Tbilisi as among other options. Of course, realistically speaking, and as the President Aliyev has mentioned, there are various other parties who are involved, engaged into the negotiation or facilitating those negotiations, who have a, let's say, more powerful say and are more impactful than Tbilisi is. But having a good neighbor next to you and having impartial neighbor and unbiased neighbor could always be of some help. So that was also has been mentioned. The parties have again re-emphasized that all the issues in the South Caucasus have to be addressed on the basis of the principles of international law, which is the territorial sovereignty and integrity in the first place. So all in all those possible respects, the yesterday's visit has to be deemed as a very productive and very useful.
Victor, will be nice to know your opinion about the prospects which awaits Armenia in case if the peace agreement achieved between Armenia and Azerbaijan. We used to talk with you several times about the prospects for the region. So this time, what joint project we can talk about for the future between Armenia, Azerbaijan and Georgia?
That this momentum for Armenia getting on the track, let's put it this way, on the track of international law. And we have already mentioned what that track means in a very practicable and very real terms. And we should also acknowledge a number of statements by Prime Minister Pashinyan in relation with respect to the integrity of Azerbaijan by making quite significant recognitions. Definitely that opens quite a unique momentum for Armenia in terms of its domestic policies, and I would not be commenting on that, in terms of foreign policy. But putting aside the politics, which is of course entirely internal matter for Armenian society and Armenian politicians, it also provides good preconditions, at least at this point of time, for Armenia to jump on that frequency of international cross-border projects. The benefits of those, Azerbaijan and Armenia, Georgia has been enjoying for several decades already. And with Armenia holding its back from the benefits of those projects, of course, it already produced its own reverberations, and it has already backfired in terms of Armenian economy. So again, it's a good momentum. We from Tbilisi standpoint are always saying that although Baku-Tbilisi axis or Tbilisi-Baku axis is a critical one for the economical landscape of South Caucasus and security landscape, but we always accept the South Caucasus in its entirety. And having said that, Armenia would be more than welcome as a stakeholder in all the possible respect, in all the possible regards, to reap off the benefits of the forthcoming projects. Reconciling my version of the response, which could be arguable.
Well, you say that Prime Minister of Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan, is talking about peace too. Then what's, in your opinion, is a problem to see the peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan if two sides are ready to sign a peace deal, if Prime Minister of Armenia is also willing to see the peaceful development in the region? So what is a real problem which does not allow two sides to sit at the table and to sign that peace agreement? And if there is a problem, then how can this problem be solved?
Look, reconciling my version of the response, which could be arguable, but still I'll try to be as diplomatic and at the same time as open-minded as well. I think that the Armenian society has to reconcile with the new reality. And that reconciliation and accepting the new reality could take some time. And at least, from the Georgian perspective, and of course, I well appreciate that Azerbaijan could have its own standpoint. But I would encourage Azerbaijan, including, to treat that reconciliation with as complete understanding and patience as possible. We should also consider that Armenian politicians and Armenian internal politics and domestic politics is not entirely free in its own decision-making process. So one thing is about recognizing the rationale of the process, but another thing is taking actual decisions. So I think that in recognition of that very momentum, which we have already mentioned, we have a very unique opportunity to treat the process with as much understanding and patience as possible, and that, therefore, not to derail the new shape of the South Caucasian geoeconomics and geopolitics. So this is probably would be sort of, a very brief version of my response. All in all, with engagement of mighty stakeholders, including EU, including United States, we still have to bide our time and bide our patience, to use the Chinese proverb, and to wait till the fall of this year. I think that by fall of this year, we have to have more feedback and more ingredients on the surface to jump to certain conclusions, but not now.
And my last question, let's analyze the role of Azerbaijan and Georgia in the future functioning of the Middle Corridor.
Yes, thank you for this question. As we already mentioned at the start of our conversation, the discussions were divided into two pillars, the security related and the economy related. When we speak about the economy related, the Middle Corridor was on the top of the agenda. In the context of the Middle Corridor, Prime Minister of Georgia and the President of Azerbaijan have specifically mentioned that very critical part and critical element of the Middle Corridor, which is Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway, have to complete it in forthcoming months. So this is a very good signal and good message. The parties have also mentioned the importance for Irakli and even possibly expanding the Kulabi terminal, which could add competitive advantage to the Middle Corridor. So all in all, those discussions, alongside with various aspects of the green energy deals and a few other points, they again make us to imply, Anastasia, that although Azerbaijan and Georgia already enjoy a very profound legacy of bilateral cooperations, which have started at the end of the last century, but in this world of extreme competitiveness and extreme transactionality, you always have to search for new opportunities to rejuvenate your positions in the world and to recharge your positions and your capacities. So I think that being said, yesterday's discussions have been a clear message that our nations clearly recognize that their dynamics should be viewed in the context of the regional and the global dynamics. And therefore is our quest for new capacities, new efforts, and new opportunities.
Well, I thank you. I thank you for joining ID Talks today.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.